tourists and seeing more of your magnificent state. I'd also like to offer my most sincere thanks, both from me personally and from the Oxford Union, to the Churchill Club, who have put together a stellar evening. I look forward to many more years of the continuing success of our very own special relationship with Silicon Valley. Finally, as an autonomous body, the Union, of course, has no opinions of our own, and we always aim to question both sides of the argument. However, we love nothing more than rules and regulation at Oxford, and we do have an illustrious rule book that happens to be longer than the Canadian Constitution. So, in the spirit of this, I thought I wouldn't defraud you and share some of these regulations with you tonight. Now, to explain how tonight's debate is going to work, we will hear 5-minute speeches from each of our fantastic guest speakers, 4 on each side. After the third opposition speaker has spoken, we will open the debate to 2 pre-arranged student speakers, who will also be granted 5 minutes each. Merrick has already explained to you how voting will work. Now, whilst the post-debated vote is being counted, we'll also be taking voluntary contributions from you, the audience. So, without further ado, I would now like to turn to the public business motion before the House tonight. This House believes that Silicon Valley innovation will solve the healthcare crisis. I ask our distinguished timekeeper, Mr. Stephen Todd, to kindly take his place. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a big round of applause to welcome our guest speakers for this evening. To start off tonight's debate, I look to the Honourable Member, Joe DiNucci, to open the case for the proposition.
Thank you, Madam President. It's a privilege to stand before you tonight and open this proposition. My first duty is to introduce the members of the proposition team and the opposition team, so I will do that first. The proposition team, on my right, on the right side, the right team. These people have very solid Silicon Valley credentials and very solid healthcare credentials. These people know what they're talking about. We have Gary Lauer, who is the chairman and CEO of eHealth. When Gary Lauer was 9 years old, his face was on the cut box of weeds. At 13, he graduated from the University of Southern California. And he was on the U.S. speedwalking team, but he quit because he thought they were all using drugs. Malay Gandhi. Malay is Chief Strategy Officer at Rock Health. Malay is actually 156 years old. I thought he was named for Mahatma. It turns out it was the other way around. Stacy Chang. He's the Director of Health and Wellness at IDEO in Palo Alto. Stacy is on several under 40 lists. Less well known is that he was on the 1 under 1 list because he took the SAT and crushed it when he was 9 months old. The opposition team on the other side, this team's not quite as solid. Let me put it this way, there's one healthcare guy, there's a writer, and there's 2 lawyers. And we all know how much the lawyers speed up the process of innovation. We have Robert Ivana. He's the Executive Director and CEO of Veterans Health Research Institute. That's impressive. He's very famous for his management style, which he adapted from Werner Erhardt's S training, where no one can use the bathroom during business hours. Bruce Jeanette is a senior counsel at DLA Piper. Focuses on clients in the life sciences industry. He was a pioneer in law school education. This was a first. He was allowed to skip law school entirely by committing to watch continuous broadcasts of Nancy Grace. The program was halted when Bruce threatened suicide. Maria Sendra, yet another lawyer. She's a partner at Jones Day. Maria is an international dealmaker extraordinaire. And I'm told that she has a tattoo somewhere that says billable hours in 5 different languages. Mike Malone, or Michael S. Malone, as he likes to be called. He's an American author. He's a columnist of the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, The Economist, former editor of Forbes.com, and publisher. He is the Boswell of Silicon Valley. And I have to seriously thank him for initiating 13 years ago a wonderful institution called Silicon Valley Comes to Oxford. If he hadn't done that, none of us would be here. This event wouldn't be happening. And the Oxford students that are here on spring break, they wouldn't be here either. So he's built a bridge to that incredible institution, to this incredible institution. So that's wonderful. Now, Mike is a proven predictor of trends. It's well known that he can see around corners, which is fine most of the time, but it's gotten him in trouble in certain quarters. He is a legend, and I know this is true, that he really is a legend. I know this because he tells me over and over and over. So, on to the debate. The proposition is Silicon Valley innovation will solve the crisis in healthcare. That is not debatable. It's also not debatable that we have a crisis in healthcare. What do we mean? 15 to 20% of our gross domestic product is consumed by the monster we call healthcare. We have declining productivity in healthcare. This is the only industrialized country where if you get sick, there's a good chance you're going to go bankrupt. 2/3 of personal bankruptcies in our country are related to somebody getting sick. And here's the shocker. 2/3 of the people that go bankrupt because they got sick have had health insurance. And there's millions more who have no insurance whatsoever. So their access to health care is non-existent. The healthcare system partly created this mess. It's focused on delivery, it's focused on surgery, on treatment, on drugs, on fixing sickness. That's all it's focused on. Hasn't worked. The metrics are perverse. The healthcare system gets rewarded and paid for doing things, whether they work or not. We also have a health crisis. Half of the United States citizens are diagnosed with a chronic disease. Half. If this is a typical representative sample, half of the people in this room have a chronic disease, which means I gotta go. Seriously. And 70% of the deaths in this country are resulting from those chronic diseases. But here's what's really creepy. 40% of the cancers and 80% of diabetes, stroke, and heart disease are preventable. 40% of cancer and 80% of heart disease, stroke, and diabetes preventable with different life choices, different diet choices, different lifestyle choices. The supersize me consumerism is also part of the problem, and consumerism will become part of the solution. The opposition is going to tell us, oh, healthcare system is powerful. It is a seller's market, and they're absolutely right. It is a seller's market. Do you know how you fix a seller's market? Smart buyers, informed consumers, people that know what they're looking at, that know what the options are, that know what their own state of health is. How many people in this room like the healthcare system the way it is? Yeah, me either. Let's take a flashback. March 2003, 10 years and 1 month ago. And you're a Rolling Stones fan and you want some Rolling Stones music. What are your choices? You're going to buy a 1995 plus tax CD and get 16 tunes, of which you really wanted 3. Because that's the way the industry